Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'll be going over everything that was shown in the Genshin 3.2 special program and giving my thoughts on how I feel about this new version. And towards the end of the video, I'll be sharing some thoughts in terms of what to do in terms of preparing for the new update and the new character that will be coming out, like Nahida and Layla. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the quest that will be coming in the new update. First one, that will be the new Archon quest of the Sumeru storyline, which will be the last part in the last chapter of the current Sumeru storyline, where we will be heading back to Sumeru City to confront the Doctor and Scaramouche, who is becoming a new god helped by the Academia in order to stop them to protect Nahida. Everything that was shown in the trailer is indicating that this last chapter is going to be a big one and an emotional one as well. So I'm definitely excited for this story quest. And towards the end, when they were done talking about the quest, they irritated in saying that this isn't going to be the last. This isn't going to be our last adventure in Sumeru. Obviously, looking back towards the other regions like Liyue and especially Inazuma, I'm sure more areas related to Sumeru will release later down the line, unlocking more quests, more mysteries to solve, and overall more content. Definitely something to look forward in the future. And the next thing alongside the Archon quest is the new story quest related to Nahida. Nahida's story quest will unlock after you complete the Archon quest in Sumeru, so definitely look forward to that, especially if you want to learn more about Nahida's background. So big 2 story quests coming our way. Next big thing I want to talk about is the new enemies, which the biggest one is going to be the newest weekly boss that's coming to Genshin Impact is going to be the Scaramouche robot boss. And from the gameplay that they have shown us, is definitely going to be a very unique weekly boss compared to the ones that we have shown. There have been some similarities with like the Raiden boss with some attacks, but this shows that they definitely scaled things up really high in terms of how big the boss is and the different kind of mechanics that it's gonna deal, and like it is so cool. This new weekly boss is gonna definitely be a fan favorite for sure. You definitely want to prioritize farming this weekly boss in consideration of the new boss masks that we'll have for future characters that come out, because considering that the new weekly boss is dropping this patch, I'm highly confident that Nahida and Layla are gonna use the new weekly boss mask, so definitely save those up. The second boss that we are getting is going to be the newest addition to the hypostatic bosses, which is going to be the Dendro version, which I'm highly confident that this boss is going to be the boss mask for Nahida, so definitely same stuff fragile to farm this boss on day 1 if you're gonna roll for Nahida. But other than that, I will jump into the characters that I'll be introducing, which will be the new 5-star Dendro character Nahida and the new 4-star Cryo character Layla. Let's talk about Nahida first. Nahida is the newest Dendro character, and considering that she is an Archon, I'm expecting she is going to be a very good character in terms of Dendro. And from the live stream, they have shown some clips and footage of her new gameplay. She is a Catalyst user, where she does Dendro damage on her normal charged attacks. When regarding her elemental skill, is a very unique mechanic that we have seen from like gadgets and stuff, but it's implemented into an elemental skill where if you press it, it does AoE damage, but if you hold it, it goes into this camera mode where every time you hover over an enemy, it scans them and marks them with a Dendro mark. It marks enemies with a Dendro mark that are connected together, and every time you deal elemental reaction damage and Dendro core damage to the enemy, it deals Dendro damage to all the enemies that are marked, which makes it really good in terms of Dendro application, without having to worry about applying Dendro on field. Her burst creates this giant, really cool looking scenery where it basically does nothing, but it gives buffs to Nahida, where depending on the elemental types of the characters in your party team, it gives different buffs. If you have a Pyro character on your team, it increases the damage of her E. If you have a Hydro character on your team, it increases the duration that the burst field lasts. And if you have an Electro unit, it decreases the cooldown of the intervals that the E procs. A lot of the time, you really want to focus on the Electro buff because you definitely want to continuously proc a lot more E's than the other two. Moving on to Layla. Layla is a cryo 4-star sword user that specializes in doing continuous cryo damage, with also providing your on-field character with a cryo shield. In regards to her elemental skill, she generates a cryo shield where it generates a night star, and once you have 4 of these night stars, they will turn into homing stars where it will shoot up to nearby enemies dealing cryo damage. And in regards to her burst, she creates this AoE with this giant night lamp where it shoots these giant night stars towards enemies. While Layla's elemental skill is up, it generates a night star even faster, allowing you to proc more night stars consistently. From looking at how her kit works, it seems nice, but the only thing I'm seeing that could be a problem is the fact of how good her shield works, because the main functionality from her kit is going to be her elemental skill, proccing these night stars consistently, and depending if that shield breaks, her kit becomes basically useless. But we will have to see how really good she is when we get closer to her release date. And now moving on to the event wish preview. In the first phase, it will be Nahida and Yomiya being the 2 5-stars headlining the update, with the second phase being Yane, Miko, and Tartaglia. The next thing that they mention is we're getting a new 5-star weapon, which is going to be Nahida's new 5-star weapon, which is 8,000 floating dreams. We will have to wait and see what this weapon's about, but considering that Nahida really scales high with Elemental Mastery, my guess is that this main stat weapon is going to be Elemental Mastery. And now moving on to the events that will be shown in this update. The first one being called Fabulous Fungi's Frenzy, which is going to be the main event of this update, where basically is an event where you collect fungi from different parts of Sumeru and you kind of train them to do like this competition where they go up against enemies like Hilly Charles. It's really interesting and really cool that they're doing like these kind of new type of events that we haven't seen before, especially with like something involving the fungi. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. It's definitely going to seem really enjoyable. There will also be some mini games along with this event, so it's not just going to be about capturing and using the fungi to your own use. Next one is called Adventurous Trials, where it's just a bunch of mini games using a lot of different characters, which honestly looks really cool. Like one of them is going to be like scoring goals with like a pyro character against an electro slime using overload to knock the slime into the goal. Another one looks like he's going to be Zhao plunging but trying to collect coins at the same time. Like a lot of different wacky games to enjoy. I'm also looking forward to that one. But the main one that I'm looking forward to is the return of the Hypostatic Symphony, which has been long gone for like over a year and a half, which I'm definitely looking forward to this. In case you don't know, Hypostatic Symphony was the first like hard boss event that we had in Genshin Impact back in 1.2, where basically if it's kind of similar to like the Vagabond event if you were there around that time, where it's fighting against specific hypostatic bosses. It looks like in this event we're gonna specifically fighting the Hydro, Cryo, Pyro, and the new Dendro one. There'll be some buffs and debuffs that you can apply to get more points, and the higher points you get, the more likely you are to get all of the rewards. When talking about this event in the special program, they emphasize that you don't really need to up the difficulty that much in order to get all of the rewards. So if you just care about the rewards, you don't really have to worry about that much about difficulty. Difficulty in this game mode is mainly for people that want a challenge. Like you don't have to force yourself to beat it at the highest difficulty. It's mainly for those that want to test their skills and test their characters against high difficulty content, similar to the previous Hypostatic Symphony and the Vagabond event as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. I'm definitely going to be streaming this online, so definitely go check me out at my Twitch. The link will be in the description below. Moving on to the next event, this one definitely is a rerun from a previous one where basically you just go around, take pictures, and turn them in for Primo Gems. That seems to be all of the events that we'll be getting in the next version update. And then lastly, they talked about some quality of life regarding the Serena teapot system, where now you are able to replicate someone else's teapot design into yours. Now I'm going to talk about my thoughts and prep that you can do in preparation for the 3.2 update. First, I think this update is going to be a really good one in terms of the Archon quest, the new story quest for Nahida, the new Dendro character. I think she's going to be a really good one that's going to impact a lot of team comps. And now in terms of prepping, Since we already know some of Nahida's kit, I'm going to talk about some stuff that you can do in terms of building Nahida when she releases. First, I'm going to talk about weapon choices. Since she is a catalyst user, there are a couple options that you can go for. Some of the main ones being sacrificial fragments, mainly because of the elemental mastery that it gives you, but also the passive slightly works with her skill, since a lot of her damage does come from her elemental skill, so this definitely might help. The second one being the Wistus. It gives you crit damage as a main stat, but the passive gives you like a really huge buff. This is a really good choice, but I personally don't really like it because this is mainly a one rotation weapon, where it's mainly going to be useful for only one rotation. But if you don't really mind that, then this could be a really good choice for you. And the third one being her best in slot, which is the new 5-star. We don't really know any information about it, we will have to wait and see, but considering that they usually release 5 stars that really cater towards the 5-star that is on the banner, I'm pretty sure that's going to be her best in slot. If you don't have any of the 4 stars, or if you're not planning on rolling for the new 5-star weapon, then the F2P choice that you want to consider is the Maple Mire, which is the Mondstadt craftable catalyst that you can go for. There are a lot of variety, so definitely go for one that you're most comfortable with. And now moving on to the artifacts that you might want to consider building for Nahida. So realistically, there are only 2 choices, one being Deepwood of Memories, which is going to be her best in slot, and her secondary being Gilded Dreams. Luckily, because these 2 sets are new, they're in one domain, so it's easier to farm for her. There is one situation that Gilded may be better, where you put a Nahida on 4-piece Gilded and have someone else run 4-piece Deepwood in order to get more damage from Nahida's kit, but that comes at the sacrifice of having secondary character on Deepwood that may not be their best in slot, but that is totally up to you if you want to do that. Deepwood is better because 1, it gives you dendro damage from the 2-piece, and from the 4-piece, it decreases dendro resistance towards enemies after using elemental skill or elemental burst. And considering that Nahida's skill is going to be consistently proccing dendro damage, you're gonna be consistently proccing the 4-piece passive anyway. In terms of stats, you definitely want to go for elemental mastery, but at the same time you definitely want to go for crit stats, so you definitely want to go for both, but mainly elemental mastery because she does skill off elemental mastery in terms of her kit, because if you don't know, she has a passive where it increases her E skill damage based on how much elemental mastery that you have. So definitely keep that in mind. In terms of the main stats between your Sands, Goblet, and Circlet, I know a lot of people are going to immediately think going triple EM, but that's not really ideal, because in terms of her wanting to deal more damage, considering that she already is going to get a lot of elemental mastery, not only from potentially her essential stat, her weapon, going for more elemental mastery may not be beneficial in terms of her personal damage. So I definitely recommend considering having either your Circlet being a crit stat related stat, either being crit damage, or maybe your Goblet being dendro damage. But considering that elemental mastery is the most hardest main stat to get on an artifact, at the end, to make it easy, just go with whatever artifact that you have that has good substats on it in order to make your build more flexible and balanced. For me, I have used some calculators in implementing my artifacts that I currently have to see which set will do better. For me specifically, it's better to run double elemental mastery from the Sands, Goblet, and with the Circlet being crit damage, but that may not be the case for you. So I suggest using whichever you have that has good substats, but I also recommend that you don't try to force an onset elemental mastery if it doesn't have good substats, and you don't try to force an onset set in any other artifacts that you don't have good substats as well. So I definitely recommend using good artifacts with good substats on your Nahida, and eventually building up for a good piece or a good 4-piece set. This is the substats that I will be running on her. And for the Sands, you definitely want to give her an elemental mastery Sands, but if you don't have one, then you can use attack percentage, which she does skill up, but not as much compared to elemental mastery. So in case you don't have one, you definitely want to eventually build up to getting an elemental mastery one. In regards to Gilded Dream set, it gives you elemental mastery from the 2-piece, and from the 4-piece it gives you even more elemental mastery depending on the elemental types that are in your party, where it gives you either between attack percentage or elemental mastery. And if you get all the elemental mastery stacks, it gives you a total of 150 elemental mastery. So this set, it has the potential of giving you a lot of elemental mastery that you don't have to really focus on in getting on your substats from your artifacts. Deepwood Memories is definitely going to be her best in slot, but the differences in terms of damage related is not really that significant, to the point where it's not that big of a deal if you can put her on Gilded Dreams, especially if you have good substats and good artifacts from that set specifically, where in the end, just put her on whichever set that you have the best artifacts. And now quickly talking about Layla, considering that she is slightly longer away from her release, it definitely seems that she's going to be a tenacity user, so definitely keep that in mind. And that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like, subscribe for more content in the future, check me out on Twitch, the link will be in the description below. What do you guys think of this news update? Are you excited for it? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.